The standard household alkaline battery. We use it every day all over the world, but how does it work? That is what we will be covering in this video. What is a battery? A battery is a device used to store energy for later use in different applications. We use batteries to power small electrical devices such as a flashlight. The energy is stored as chemical energy, and this can be converted into electrical energy when we need it. If we look at a simple battery and lamp circuit, to illuminate the lamp we need many electrons to flow. The battery is going to provide a pushing force, which allows the electrons to flow through the lamp. We simply need to connect the lamp between the positive and negative parts of the battery to complete the circuit. The battery can only push electrons for a certain amount of time. This time depends on how energy is stored inside the battery and how much is demanded by the load. When we talk about load in electrical circuits, we mean any component that requires electricity to work. These could include resistors, LEDs, DC motors, or even entire circuit boards. Some batteries can be rechargeable, and this will be clearly stated on the side of the battery, but the typical household alkaline battery cannot. So it is simply disposed of when it runs out of energy. These can be recycled, so ensure you dispose of them responsibly. What is inside a battery? A typical 1.5 volts alkaline battery looks something like this, but the color varies by manufacturer. When we look at a battery, we usually find a primary PVC wrapper covering the entire outer body, protecting it and providing important details. This includes the capacity and voltage, as well as indicating which end is positive and negative. The positive end is known as the cathode and has a protruding surface. The negative end is known as the anode, and these two terminals are electrically isolated from each other. After the wrapper, we find the main casing, usually made of steel with nickel plating. This holds all internal components in place and prevents interaction with atmospheric elements such as air and water. Within the casing, there are multiple layers of different materials. These materials are specially selected because their chemical properties create certain voltage and current characteristics. The first layer is the cathode, which is a mixture of manganese oxide and graphite. The graphite improves conductivity and increases the energy density of the mixture. Next, there is a layer of porous material, typically fibrous paper, which forms a barrier. This barrier prevents the anode and cathode materials from making direct contact with each other, helping the battery last longer when not in use and preventing internal short circuits. The microscopic holes in this material allow ion atoms to pass through, which we will examine in more detail later. An electrolyte, usually potassium hydroxide, is then added to the separator during manufacturing, soaking into it and being absorbed into the materials. The electrolyte used is alkaline, which is why this type of battery is called an alkaline battery. On the other side of the battery we have the anode, made from zinc powder mixed with a gelling agent that keeps the zinc evenly distributed. The zinc is in powder form to increase surface area, which improves electron flow and reduces internal resistance. The steel cap is sealed with a nylon plastic cap, and a brass pin is inserted into the zinc, forming the negative terminal. Notice that the positive and negative terminals are separated by the plastic cap, ensuring electrical isolation. Otherwise, electrons could flow through the casing and short-circuit the battery. Now we move into electricity fundamentals to understand how this all works. Electricity is the flow of electrons in a circuit, and batteries provide the pushing force that moves these electrons. Electrons naturally want to return to their source and will take any available path. By placing devices like lamps in their path, we make them perform useful work. Batteries produce DC electricity, meaning electrons flow in one direction from negative to positive. An oscilloscope shows DC as a flat line. You can think of DC like a river flowing in one direction. In animations, electron flow is shown from negative to positive. You may also hear about conventional current, which flows from positive to negative. Although electron flow is what actually occurs, conventional current is still widely used for teaching. It is important to understand both concepts and recognize which one is being used. Electricity from power outlets provides a C, or alternating current, which is different from battery power. In a C, electrons move forward and backward continuously, like ocean tides. An oscilloscope shows a C as a wave crossing positive and negative regions. If we look inside a copper wire, we find atoms made of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons are positively charged, neutrons have no charge, and electrons are negatively charged. Some electrons are free to move between atoms in random directions. To make this movement useful, we apply a voltage difference, causing electrons to move in one direction. When we talk about atoms, we also use the term ion. An ion is an atom with an unequal number of protons and electrons, giving it a net charge. If an atom has more electrons than protons, it becomes a negative ion. If it has more protons than electrons, it becomes a positive ion. Voltage is like pressure in a water system, and we measure it using a voltmeter between 2 points. When measuring across a battery, we get 1.5 volts. But measuring the same point gives 0 volts because there is no difference. Some materials, like copper, allow electrons to flow easily and are called conductors, while others, like rubber, are insulators. By combining materials, chemical reactions occur where atoms interact, bond, or break apart. Electrons can be released or captured during these reactions. Now that we understand the basics, we can look at how the alkaline battery actually works internally. Inside the battery, atoms in different materials interact through chemical reactions. Hydroxide ions in the electrolyte react with zinc in the anode in a process called oxidation, forming zinc hydroxide and releasing electrons that collect on the brass pin. At the same time, manganese oxide reacts with water and free electrons in a reduction reaction, forming a slightly different compound and releasing hydroxide ions back into the electrolyte. These ions move through the separator, maintaining the reaction cycle. This creates a buildup of electrons at the negative terminal, producing a voltage difference between the terminals. Electrons repel each other and move toward the positive terminal. If an external path is provided, they flow through it, doing work such as lighting a lamp. As long as the circuit is complete, the chemical reaction continues and electrons flow. If the circuit is broken, the reaction stops. Over time, the materials are depleted, making the reaction weaker until no more electrons flow and the battery is exhausted. We can connect batteries in series or parallel. In series, voltages add together, so two 1.5-volt batteries produce 3 volts. In parallel, voltage remains the same, but capacity increases, allowing the battery to supply current for a longer period. Battery capacity is measured in milliampere hours. A 2,500 mAh battery can theoretically provide 2,500 milliamps for 1 hour or lower current for a longer time. However, real performance is affected by internal resistance, temperature, and battery age. Battery life can be estimated using the formula capacity divided by current. For example, 3000 mAh divided by 19 milliamperes gives approximately 157.9 hours. However, this is an ideal estimate and actual performance will usually be lower. To measure a battery, we use a multimeter set to DC voltage and connect probes to the terminals. A lower voltage may indicate a weak battery, but proper testing requires applying a load, such as a resistor, to observe performance under real conditions. If the battery is still good, the voltage will only drop slightly under load. That is all for today. I hope you found this video informative. If you did, kindly subscribe, like and share, and I will see you in the next one.